Hello everyone, I would like to present you the story of my work at Procter and Gamble. The main inspiration for that was the video that I saw of one of former employees, and I had a feeling that she had a very nice experience when she was leaving the company. For me, as you will see in a moment, it was opposite. And this is just basically to warn everyone to watch out because, well, things may not happen as you wished. So, very briefly, I will start from the beginning. So, regarding the recruitment, I have nothing to say bad about. I mean, the recruitment was actually well conducted. And I remember also, since I already tried, already in the past, in a different country to apply to Procter, and I passed the test, I just didn't pass the interview. They basically allowed me to skip the test that they have. It's, if you don't know, it's like a IQ test. And then you have a couple of interviews with different managers, and then you are hired. So I remember I was at that time abroad. I was hired in a country, one of the other countries, and I saw the salary that they offered, which was very advantageous. The conditions, the package, it was great. And then, once when I started, something weird started to happen because I got a role, a very quite specific role with the market research, and the person that I was replacing was still at the company. So what basically happened is that they kept the other person. This person knew about me, but apparently he didn't knew that I would be replacing him, and so he was continuing to work. And just to not share this information with any other person, I was actually kept in a team that I shouldn't be the part of, so that the other team would also not know and probably would not share the information, the person that I was replacing. So it was very weird. I spent the first month basically in a different team. That's kind of prolonged my integration because I had only access to PowerPoint presentation about explaining about the company. I could learn, but this is not so efficient like someone in the team could explain you. And then the other persons that I was sitting with, actually they were not my team. They didn't know exactly who I am, and I was not allowed to speak about it. So then the month after, I was invited to my proper team, and then the other person got fired. And I think the work is very exciting. I mean, you really feel responsible for your so-called business within Procter and Gamble because you work in a team, but still you have a very fair responsibility. But on the other hand, if you have so-called transversal role, which means that you would work with your team, which is in a country, but then your supervisor would be abroad, and then you may have another so-called client or your other supervisor, and sometimes, as you may know, if you have two supervisors, they may have different opinion about different stuff. So it started to be a little bit confusing. And the problem I had, my direct supervisor, I had, very good relations with him, but the other supervisor that was in the country, I didn't have, basically because she was very hierarchical. And I cannot right now remind myself in details, but I found some of her approaches very weird. For example, she was encouraging me to leave my post at 5 p.m., like she was passing, and by my desk. And then, I still had stuff to do, so I could even sit to 8 p.m. because, there's a lot of work. It's very exciting. And when you are young, you don't care so much about, like coming soon to your home if you don't have family. So I think one of the reasons why she was doing this is just to basically not have a bad opinion within the company, that someone would be she's leaving the office, but the other people who are under her, they are still sitting at the office like me. And normally you would not care, you would not think that just it was a person that really took care about what other people are saying about. And I discussed also some other stuff that I can't recall right now, but like weird stuff. And some people agreed with me. And then I had a meeting with her, private meeting, and I said, like this was not okay what you are doing. So what she did is basically we went out to the corridor, and then she started to scream at me, saying, why I speak to the other people. And this kind of showed me already that this is really extremely hardcore person. And I basically, will have to bend a little bit the back. And at that time, it was very hard for me because I just came from Scandinavia, where the hierarchy is very flat. So like coming to the country where hierarchy is quite high, and then having to deal with the person that is very hardcore was, for me hard. Also, other people made it good workout, and I saw, some people, and I saw how she is working. Like, she was very close to the vice president at the company. Just, I think, for the reason that this could protect her and give her some benefits. So very bad experience for me in terms of hierarchy at Procter and Gamble that I was not expecting just because of one person. I'm not saying that all people are like that, but if you have bad luck, you will finish with this kind of person. And from that moment, the relation with her was quite bad, even if I was working a lot. And then the moment came that I think was a bad luck for me, because it was reorganization of the company, supposing to fire many people. But what they were saying officially at the company is that anyone that has worked a shorter time than 1 year, like me, would not get fired. And then the other thing, by the way, is that also my performance was not the best at the company. Like, even if I was working so much time, and one of the reasons I gave you at the beginning, saying that I was not in with a team. So when I came and the organization happened, it was, I think, 4 months after, or 5. So basically, in honesty, I had like 4 or 5 months of working with the team, and there is really a lot to learn, to adjust. And the competition, even if you work in a team, is high. Like, people, they are ready to take over your obligations just to show that they work more and they are more efficient than you. So this is like a little bit minefield, if I can say so. And then anyway, my supervisor, my direct supervisor who was abroad, he didn't care about my performance so much, because he said, anyway, the first year you are not as assessed as others, so there's no risk that you would get fired unless you would do something very, very bad, which of course, I didn't do. But then what happened actually is that I had a discussion with the supervisor of my supervisor, and then there was my supervisor in the same country. And then, of course, my supervisor, and then he announced that they recommend me to leave the company on the voluntary basis. So what it means that you receive some kind of package, but then you are kind of also forced to take it because they said that you have no chances. Like this was the supervisor, my supervisor said that you have no chances, and it's better that you would take it. And then that's obviously is one of the reasons is that they were also a little bit afraid that they would got fired because they would have to make high extreme cuts at the company. So anyway, I took it quite calm, I would say, and I thought, what I will do. And then they said also that one of the reasons was that my performance was not good. So what I did is that I scheduled the meeting again with him, saying, I would like to understand better what do you mean by performance, like why it's bad. And then I had this meeting, and then again there was my supervisor, there was a supervisor in my country, there was supervisor abroad, there was supervisor of my supervisor in the country as well. And I had this discussion which was very hard for me because they were just speaking like all people were saying that I am basically zero, my performance, just giving me reasons. And then also additionally they said that like my supervisor that didn't care about my performance, he said that time that we'll give you the support. And one more thing that I forgot to say is that after 4 months of working at Procter, my supervisor changed, by the way, which I forgot to mention. This is very important because my previous supervisor, as I told you, he didn't care about my performance because he said, first year, you are not assessed. Whereas when I got a new supervisor 4 or 5 months after, as far as I remember, he was very hard on me. And he was surprised with, my performance. Like he was not happy about my performance. And then, I did everything what I could to satisfy him. The problem is that he was also, like my supervisor in the country, he was also very hierarchical. So he was saying to me what I have to do. He was saying, for example, me, like when we had discussion, he said at the end, and then I want you to send me an email with a sum up what we discussed. So that was again a little bit shock for me of like telling me what I have to do and not giving me any option to propose other things, despite the fact that, for example, I did, I think, quite nice things. Like no one did things that was by, within my function. I integrated people within the country to work together on different projects. And I can't recall right now, but I did a lot more stuff. But this was not important for my new supervisor. So, also I forgot to say in this new meeting, also there was my new supervisor who was abroad, who was replacing my other supervisor, but all of them, they were this call, and all of them were saying that I'm bad, and so on. And I was fighting, and then I remember, I was extremely tired, and then in my room, there were 2 persons, one my supervisor and then country supervisor, and then supervisors of my country supervisor. So I remember when the discussion finished, the supervisor of my country supervisor, she stayed in the room, and we were together, and she asked me, why you fight so much? And that